You're listening to the Outstanding Life Podcast with your host, Johnny D, the Motivational Cowboy. As a motivational speaker, Johnny D impacts audiences around the world with his message of living the outstanding life. He's a best-selling author, MC, and two-time Grammy-considered artist. This podcast is a place where Johnny D can introduce you to his outstanding friends and share funny, interesting, and heart-provoking stories. Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up. Here comes your host, Johnny D.
You know that I bring some of the coolest people into the studio with me, and let me tell you, this was a last-minute type deal. This guy travels all over the world. He has worked with bands such as, let's see here, Linkin Park, Stone Temple Pilots, Slash, Myers Kennedy, Judas Priest, Godsmack, Kid Rock, Alice Cooper, Kiss, Puddle of Mud, Bob Seger, Ted Nugent, Scorpions, Megadeth, Motorhead, Eric Clapton, The Beach Boys, ZZ Top, Diana Ross. Man, I can keep going, but I only got a 20-minute show. So please put your hands together for a good friend of mine, Mr. Kevin Tater McCarthy. What is going on, buddy?
Hello, Johnny D. How you doing?
Man, I am fired up. You know, I was thinking about this. It wasn't long ago, maybe, 8, 9, 10 years ago, we met at a pub crawl.
Yes, that's true.
We were both in town,
Yep.
and I think that you were, wherever you were, overseas, working somewhere. But first of all, thank you for being on the podcast.
Yeah, no
if you
problem.
can't
Thank
tell,
you
I'm
for
pretty
having me.
excited, man. So listen, you have traveled all over the world, literally all over the world.
Yes.
You've been in this business over 30 years.
33.
33 years.
Not counting.
Not counting at all. But let me ask you, how did it all start? I mean, how does a man that has been in the business for 33 years even get started? Because what I didn't tell everybody, you do sound for big bands.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you've been on tour with some of the biggest name rock bands out there.
All those bands you mentioned.
Yeah, plus a whole
Plus
lot
a
more.
whole
I only
lot
got
more.
25 minutes. Plus all the TV shows, all the special events.
Oh, yeah.
When you look back on it, when you hear somebody say all those bands,
Yep.
you got a smile inside going, man, I can't even believe it. That's got to be kind of cool.
And what you really can't believe is all those checks cashed. Every one of them.
Let me ask you, how did it all get started?
In high school, really, I was playing bass in just a kids band in high school. Actually, in junior high to high school.
You played bass.
I played bass.
I didn't know that. Were you good?
No, terrible. Absolutely terrible. And we needed a PA system to be able to play gigs.
Yeah.
And I really got involved more in the PA than the bass playing. I was a terrible bass player, and I just got way more involved in that. And then we owned some gear, and the band fizzled out. Other bands were renting the PA system that I had to do their shows, and I was making money. So fresh out of high school, bam, I'm making money renting a PA system out, and it just started from there.
So did you go to college for this?
I did not. It's not that I don't recommend going to college for this. Back then, there was no really schools for it, and there's a ton of them now.
Well, good.
I can't really mention any of them to say they're good or bad. I don't know.
Right.
And everybody gets their own thing out of learning anyway, out of a good place or a bad place. So there's a ton of places that do it now. But back when I started, there really wasn't any. So it was just hard knocks.
So you've always been into music then. So let me ask you this. What was your very first concert? Yeah, very first concert, not that you worked, that you've ever been to.
Very, very good question. Because and don't anybody try to hack me, because I don't use this as my security question. My very first concert was 1975, Elvis Presley Pontiac Silverdome.
No kidding.
Yeah.
What was that like?
I can't remember.
Were you hooked, or you don't even know? You don't remember?
I just remember that he had ripped his pants that night, and he went back and changed his jumpsuit. And that's the one part I remember. And for all these years, when I was talking about it with my sister and my parents, we all thought it was just a ploy for him to take a break for a few minutes.
Yeah.
But I eventually I worked with a company that did the sound for that show at the Silverdome. Give a little shout out to Claire Global and Sean Clare. And they sent me a whole list of pictures and things that happened at that show and who the crew was. And they verified that, no, he really did rip his pants that night. So
that is so cool.
Yeah.
I don't even know where to start. So you played bass. You got into this business, by accident, kind of, right? You kind of fell into it.
Yeah, I didn't ever think even, I was too young, and I was making a few bucks a week renting this system out, and I was living on that money, and I never thought it would be, take me where it took me,
Yeah.
Never even imagined. Even to this day, I look back, especially this year, that's all we're doing is looking back because we're not working.
I know.
So looking back that it's gone this fast, and how lucky I am and how blessed I am that I've been able to make a full-time living at this.
What was your first big show? Because we're going back 30 years, so that those were big shows back then. I mean, because we didn't have streaming, we didn't have this kind of thing.
Yeah, correct. It's way pre-cell phone and pre-internet and all that stuff. I think my first really big show, I was a sound technician on the George Michael Faith Stadium tour.
Really?
And I think that was, I'm talking about real big show. That was my first stadium experience.
Was that pretty cool? Was that like, man, I've made it to the big time?
No, because I tell you what, it was so much. It's so much hard work, such long hours, and all you're wanting to do is, even back then when you're young, is to get back to the hotel and just get a few hours sleep because you got to be up early again and do it again.
Tater, for everybody that is at home listening, and you're like, wow, I never even knew that there was a sound guy. Because we look at the bands and we're like, oh, people actually put things together.
Yeah.
Take us through a day of you guys pulling in either that night or the night before or that morning, setting up. Kind of walk us through what a day's like.
Days are long. There's a lot of jobs going on. The funny thing is let's say you're going to an arena or your stadium or even your local theater, and you go out and you're parking your car, and you may drive by, maybe 3 or 4 up to 20 semis parked out there, and you don't realize that all those semis were unloaded a few hours ago and set up. They don't realize that that's how much gear you bring in. Most people think when you go to a concert, the sound, the lights, the stage, they think that's all supplied, and the musicians are walking in with their guitars and their amps, setting them down, and let's rock. That's not the way it rolls. When you pass all those, when you're going to an arena show and you pass all those 23 semis parked out in the streets for you to park your car next to, they were there at 6 a.m. unloading those things one after another and setting up that gear. So most people don't know that, and that's what really happens. And behind the scenes, an arena tour, you're starting at somewhere between 6 and 7 in the morning. They're hanging the chain motors up for you to hang everything from the ceiling. The riggers are starting that early, and lighting people coming in, set carps, production people. There's a whole host of jobs that people are doing.
Yeah.
And they all have to fall into a certain order. Everybody's job depends on another person's job to get done, so then you can start. And hopefully you get done in time, and then you do a show, and then the show's usually over at 10:30, 11. Takes you a couple hours, maybe 3 to 4 hours to load out, and then you're hopefully asleep by 2, and you're waking. Then you're driving. You're not driving, but you're in a bus, and then you're waking up in the next city, and whole thing starts again.
No kidding. So let me ask you this: does every band do a sound check?
Knock on wood, the bands I work for usually don't.
Really?
Yeah, thank God, because a sound check is a really...
Because I love the sound checks.
You do?
Yeah, just because I think I love the rawness of a band.
Yep.
Of being up there and you guys tweaking things and him going, a little more on my left, a little more on my right monitor, a little more on the drum kick, a little more, you know what I mean? I love that. Maybe it's because I'm around it so much of, with all my speaking.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I just think it's kind of cool.
So for one thing, it's kind of become a thing of the past for a bunch of reasons. For one thing, we use the same gear, the same thing every day.
Right.
The only thing that changes is the environment around, the room around, and that does change a lot of stuff. The thing is, though, when you're playing those big rooms and they're coming in for a sound check and they say, let's change this doesn't sound right, that doesn't sound right. Well, in 2 more hours, when we call them the water bags, all the audience walks in, right?
Yeah.
It changes the sound so much. All you end up usually doing is going right back to where you were from the show before. So you've used all that time to create confusion to put it right back again. So luckily, and it depends what kind of band you're working with, but the bands I work with normally don't stay in the same city. They're doing a show in. So they don't want to have to come in early. They want to come in right before the show. They want to leave after. And they pay us a lot of money to make sure that they don't have to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or they're coming in early and they're doing meet and greets and all that kind of stuff. So they don't have time for that. And, we're the ones that are tasked to handle, no sound checks. And depending on how big the tour is, it takes a long time to set that stuff up. You schedule a 3 o'clock sound check for a 4, and you've got opening acts to deal with. They've really, in my world of mainly hard rock bands, it's become a thing of the past.
So let me ask you this. Do you physically, because of who you are and you are at such a high level, do you actually still set up and tear down and like do all that, or do you kind of walk in like the band a couple hours beforehand and say,
no.
you know, okay, guys, we're going to tweak this a little bit?
I wish that we call that white gloving, and that doesn't really happen. I do have an assistant that's been with me for years, Paul White, and he does mainly the I'll call it the heavy lifting stuff, but not really lifting stuff, but heavy lifting stuff. But I always set up my own mixing console, my own area where I work. I lay all my cables. I do all my stuff. And there's a lot of stuff that has to be done with, we use a lot of wireless, a lot of RF wireless coordination, which falls on my plate. Has to be done during the day and all that kind of stuff. So, no, I can't just walk in and mix. Unfortunately, that job has kind of gone away.
What's your favorite part about doing your job? Is it the actual show? Is it the setting up? Is it the team bonding between? I mean, because how many men and women are on tour with you guys at any given time? 20, 30, 40?
I've been working for Iron Maiden the last couple of years, so I think we have 60.
60 people?
60, yeah.
So you have to,
traveling 60, and then we use probably 70 to 80 local crew every day.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite part about doing your job?
There's a satisfaction. I don't mix for the audience. I mix for the band, right? So what the band hears on stage. There's a certain satisfaction to them having a show, and there's no issues. They don't ask you for anything. And a lot of these guys, especially nowadays, are all some sort of engineer, recording guys, and you're mixing the sound for them. And if you can pull that off, there's pretty good satisfaction.
Yeah. So have you ever had a situation that things didn't go well?
Oh, the thing is...
Can you walk us through like one of them, like kind of because we're talking about all the fun things, right?
Right.
All the glory things. But there, I'm sure, times with 60 people, all this gear, that things don't happen, and maybe you're not set up at the right time of 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
So what do you guys do? Walk us through like something like that. Maybe that has happened to you.
Yeah, I mean it's happened a lot. We'll have a border crossing and you get held up for hours, and you instead of loading in at 6 a.m., you're loading in at noon, and everybody's under the gun. All that kind of stuff happens. Or you're doing international shows with air freight the same day, and it doesn't show up, and it doesn't clear customs. All that kind of stuff happens constantly, but somehow the shows always, they happen some way. We've had, in Linkin Park, we've had musicians not show up in the band, and with the crews played the parts. So I mean, everything happens, but the show always happens.
Right.
And most of the issues we have obviously it's just like pretend you move your office and all your belongings every day to a different location. Instead of just walking out of your office every day and shutting the door and locking it, you have to take everything with you every day and move it to a new place. So there's problems all the time. The thing is with the problems is we live and carry and live and breathe by backup systems. So we have redundancy for redundancy for redundancy all the time. And, we work with all the gear manufacturers. We know all the people there. If we have problems, we have everybody at the ready to help us out and make it happen.
I love this, that you travel so much. And a lot of times you're on a bus.
Yes.
And
in the U.S., yeah.
Right, yeah. And those of you that are watching the show right now, I mean, we've all been to concerts. We've seen the cool tour buses. I mean, your tour bus must be sweet. I mean, you probably got your own and everything else, huh?
No.
I mean, hey, listen. I've seen the Prevos, $1 million, $1.5 million, 2 million, what's yours like?
Yeah, no, mine has 10 other passengers and 11 other bunks other than mine. So
wait, are you serious? So you're traveling not on your own bus.
No.
You're actually traveling with 9, 10 other people on that bus?
Yes.
So not only are you working with these people all night,
yes,
all day, you're traveling with them too.
In very tight quarters. Yes.
What's that like?
Sleeping right next to them, one on, depending on what bunk you have, there's somebody on top of you or someone below you.
Because, I mean, people that are watching right now, they're thinking, oh, man, he's on tour with all these bands. Things are great. And it is, and it's cool, right?
Yeah.
But there's so much more than just that 2-hour show.
Oh, so much more.
What's it like being on the road with 60 people, 80 people? The personalities must be great. The stories must be awesome.
Tons of stories, tons of personality. But everybody has a common goal of how to live together. There's certain rules that everybody, especially on the bus and bus traveling and traveling as a group, there's certain rules we all respect and live by. And everybody follows that pattern, and it's been a pattern for years, and everybody kind of lives and dies and respects that pattern, and to make it, to make it sane for everybody, because you're right in everybody's face all day long, every day, and it can be tough, and stuff happens once in a while, but mainly everybody gets along, and the people you don't want to get along with, as long as they're not in your immediate team, if they're in another carpentry or lighting or something, you know how to avoid them and make it easy. It's a job. Yeah. So you got to play nice.
So when you're on the road as much as you, and you're in such tight quarters, and let's just say that you do have a day off, or maybe weather comes in, or something, what do you like to do to get away from the other 10, 11, 60 people? Like, what's something that a Tater likes to do when he's on the road?
Well, so many years of traveling,
It's probably changed after 30.
Oh yeah, it changes
years.
Probably every 10 years or something. I really like to just, as I'm getting older, I need the rest. I need to recoup, and not only that, my ears need to recoup. You know what I mean? I have to have some downtime, quiet time, and stuff like that. It's very important to me to my body to heal again, to do another, loud show. I mainly work for hard rock acts.
Yeah,
and so I mainly relax. I have probably a favorite restaurant or somewhere to go in most cities and most places that I look forward to, and if I don't, I look forward to the city where there is one I like to go to, and just basically do that, or maybe see some friends that I haven't seen in a while. If it's a day off, if it's a show day, you can't do anything. No, it's not easy.
And I love this. Every time I go into a town, people are like, "Oh, hey, you're in town. Come see me."
Yeah, it's tough.
Let's go hang out. And I'm like, I'm working.
Yeah, I'm working.
And it's so tough. I mean, I've seen you through a couple airports and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, what's up? I gotta go. I got a plane to
heading
catch.
that way. Yeah, it's real tough. They got a lot of people when they go to a guest of somebody that at a show, and you're a guest of somebody that works the show. A lot of people forget that that's our work environment.
That's right.
And we're working, and it's a serious job. And there's a lot of safety things and stuff like that. And you have to remember, we are working. This is our job. We don't come into somebody's office during the day and sit in their chair and answer their phone and put drinks all over the place. You know what I mean? So you got to respect that too. But there's plenty of places to have fun and going to a show. But that's a serious work environment, and you have to respect that.
A question came in on social media, and do tour buses change? Like when you go to another country?
Yeah, well, really only...
Like, do they get smaller? Do they get bigger?
Well, that's a great question, because they've changed over the years. The touring industry and the tour busing obviously started in the U.S.
Right.
Really only the U.S. and Europe you travel by buses. Everywhere else it's planes, trains, and automobiles. So it's really only here and there. And the U.S. always constantly had the best buses, the most innovative buses, and all that kind of stuff. But in the last, I want to say 10 years, it could be a hair longer, Europe has far surpassed us, and they have way better buses. They used to have a lot of laws and regulations about busing there, about the compartments of what we lived inside the bus and safety things, and that some of that stuff's gone away, and it's made for really, really great buses. The only problem now is the driving regulations over there in Europe. Sometimes you have to have 3 drivers on the bus because they can only drive for so long, and then have to have brakes and blah, blah, blah. So it's like, oh, God, we have enough people. And now there's, 2 more drivers,
Right.
So, but that's starting to take effect here also. They used to do these overdrives back. These guys used to drive for 24 hours straight, and that's all gone now.
Yeah.
So, and thank God, it's a lot safer. But, the buses in Europe have slowly over the years taken hold. They've gotten a lot better. The designs are great. And Jorg Philip from Beat the Street, who the buses we mainly use over there, he's done such a great job at making them great for the crew.
So another question, and your shows last anywhere from 2, 3, 4 hours, right? Usually?
A rock show, well, the total show, yeah, but, the headline act is usually right about 2 hours.
Now, do you do sound for the other acts as well?
No.
Okay,
no.
So let me ask you this. Kind of a funny question, but after I thought about it, when this person wrote it to me, I'm like, yeah, this is a great question. So you're there for 2, 3 hours doing the shows.
Yep.
Are there certain things that you do not eat anymore because of the fact that you cannot just leave and go to the bathroom?
No, but you do when you're riding on a bus, and one of the rules is you can only you can only number one on the bus. There's no number two, and the reason really is for that is we don't stop at RV parks to pump out and all that kind of stuff. There's not.
It's not as glamorous as everybody thinks.
Right.
It is.
So if you have to go, if you have to go to the bathroom, we ask the driver to pull over, but it doesn't happen a lot because everybody knows how to
take care of themselves.
Take care of yourselves. Do it before you get on or after you get off. And I have an old. It's funny you mention that because I have an old trek of. I take a lot of fiber. I overdose on fiber.
Yeah.
And it saves not only a lot of unneeded trips to the bathroom. It saves. You play these festivals and all there is porta-johns out there,
right.
And you want to spend the minimum of time you want in one of those. I don't know if you've ever been to a European festival with a overloaded porta-john. You want to be in there as less as you can.
No, but I do NASCAR. So
right, same thing. Then. Yeah, right.
So listen. You've dealt with so many different personalities because of the bands.
Yeah.
So many people in the band, but then the personalities and the needs to all these different people. I know you can't mention names and stuff like that, but what's that? That's got to be tough because you don't know what kind of mood they're going to come in.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You don't know what they're going through in their own life. There's so many things, and you're trying to make them look good.
Yep. I'm only trying to help their success.
That's right.
Not
How
there to
tough
hurt
is it though for you to at times to be like, man, I'm trying everything here.
Yeah. That does happen. I mean, it would happen on any job.
Right. Right. Absolutely.
Happen on any job. So yeah, it does happen. Everybody's got their off days, and including me. We all have them. And luckily, man, when I got to say once again, I'm blessed, man. I've worked with some great people that really respect their crews and respect the jobs that they're doing, and they know they're trying to build their success. We're only trying to make them be more successful. Yeah. And I don't run into that, thank God, too much. Is there problems? I mean, I do monitors for the bands. Of course, man, I can't hear this, turn this up, turn this down. You miss that cue. It happens. It's part of the job. And there's, tons of excuses, but you don't say anything. You just say, oh, you move on. Yeah, sorry, I'll hit it again the next night.
Listen, I've seen those boards.
Yep.
Okay. They're as big as this room.
They used to be.
Okay.
They used to be.
And do you actually use all of those knobs on?
I know what everybody asks. You know what those are? You say, I only know what this row does or something like that. Yeah, there's a lot of redundancy. And with the old analog consoles, you'd have, so many channels on them. And all it was is the same thing repeated over and over and over again. Nowadays on these digital desks, one knob can do multitude of things. Yeah. So it's a lot less knobs, but that knob's doing a lot, and you do have to know every feature. You have to know them inside out, and not only do you have to know how to mix on them, you got to be able to know how to fix them. The operating systems work, and it's a lot of stuff now. It's way different than it used to be.
What's the biggest crowd you've been a part of, as far as fans?
Oh God, I don't know. I've done a lot of big shows. We just when we ended last year with Iron Maiden, we were doing, I think, man, it had to be 80 to 100,000 down at Rock in Rio. And
what's that like, dude? You're not even smiling. I'm like, oh my God, 100,000 people.
Yeah, it's a lot of people. I mean, it's just a sea of people. You look out there, it's a sea of people, and hoping you're doing your changeover, they don't throw anything at you.
What's that like for you, though? Just knowing that, because when I'm sitting here just listening to you, and I'm like, does he not realize how cool this is? And listen, I get it. It's a job for you anymore. You're like, Johnny, well, listen, do it for 33 years and let's see how excited you are. I get it. But it's got to be so rewarding when you look out and you see just a sea of people and you're a part of that group that is making that happen.
Yeah, I mean, that feeling doesn't come to me a lot anymore, but when it does, it's a great feeling. And I got to tell you, one of the last shows I did with Iron Maiden, we were in Santiago, Chile, and playing a pretty historic stadium down there. And, of course, it's just oversold. And they've got flares going, and there's bonfires out in the middle of the audience, and they're just going nuts. And sometimes the synergy between the audience and the band almost becomes one, and that's when you really feel it. Like, everything's just kind of happening magically, like this whole synergy. And that's when I feel it now. And you're like, wow, I'm just glad to be witnessing this. Be here to enjoy it. Yeah.
I saw a picture on social media of you and David. If you could bring it up, and you'll see the battleship, and it's just like I think you were with Stone Temple Pilots, and you were. The shot is from the back of the stage, and it's looking at a battleship.
Yeah.
And I got to be honest with you. That gave me goosebumps. I think maybe you were in Hawaii or something like that.
Hawaii, yeah.
What was that? I mean, what's that like to go to a military base and perform or be a part of the band that is doing this for our military?
Yeah, I don't know how we had played Okinawa, Japan on a military base. We'd done a few military bases, making our way back from Asia, and we did one. I can't remember how many shows we did. Maybe a couple in Hawaii, and that was one of the bases, right on the water with the ships, and somebody took an incredible picture. Obviously, when you play for the military and their people and their family, it's fantastic just to see them get away and forget about everything and enjoy a band. The thing is that the day that was taken, that was not supposed to be a show day. That was that was only really a setup day and a day to make sure our gear had come in off the airplane from Japan to Hawaii and made it through customs all right and everything. And there'd been they were going to close the base now the next day because of a bad storm coming in, and they were prepared for it. So they asked us if we could play the show that day instead. And I'm surprised even how they got the word out that anybody even showed up, because you're all prepared the next day, and now you're coming now, and they packed the place. And STP always puts on a great show. They're such great musicians, and they'll do whatever it takes, man. It didn't faze them to play when they're not ready. Well, let's go right now. We'll do it right now, and they did, and it ended up just being one of those another magical show, and it was funny because speaking of stuff going wrong. Stuff going on. I was using a local guy's. This is in Japan. I was using a local guy's computer to run the console, and the power cable had fallen out. So it started to run out of battery, and the screen went blank. I found the cable, picked it up, put it back in, and it came all up in Japanese, and I didn't know how to reset it. It's all in Japanese.
Oh man! Some social media stuff came in, and that was, if a young man or a young woman wants to get into this business, how do they get into the music business these days?
You talked about schools earlier, and there's a lot of schools. I think maybe now you need to have some sort of schooling background, but that's only going to get you so far because it's really a learn on the job type thing. And some people that hire don't want somebody with a lot of experience. They want to train you their way and bring you up and show you. Exactly, and not show you another way. So to get everybody kind of gets in a different way, and somehow they land up there. Some people are lifers, and some people do it for a couple of years, and some people do it for 5 minutes and can't take it, and they're out. You know right away. It's not a job where you're like, I'll do this for a while. People are either in it or they're out of it.
Right.
You either got it or you don't.
It's a lifestyle, right?
It's a lifestyle, and it's nothing personal. If you can't do it, it's not for everybody, and you figure it out real quick.
Yeah, and like for us being on the road, I figured out what I love. 24 years of doing this, and then with everything like literally stopped, I had to learn how to live again.
How to live at home.
Yeah. It's like, holy cow! I got this house that I've been paying for 18 years, and now I got to live here. Yeah. Like it's not a Holiday Inn. It's not a Hilton. You know. A question came in again on social media. I took a bunch of questions from social media, and what's it like for you? Have you had like one of those wow moments, or maybe one of those magical moments? I'm sure that after 33 years of doing this, you've had several of them, but does one stand out, like a life-changing moment that maybe you saw somebody in the crowd that grabbed your attention that you normally don't look at the crowd, or maybe it was a band member that I don't know. I don't know exactly what this person was talking about, but I know what those wow moments or those life-changing moments are. Have you ever had one?
I'm sure I've had it. Maybe not all for the good. You know what I mean? Yeah. Maybe I know. Obviously, COVID right now we're dealing with a life-changing because, 30. If you minus 33 years from my age, wasn't very old when I started, and I don't really know anything else. So I'm learning a lot of new stuff right now. About myself, about everybody around me, about everything. About being home for this long, and worrying about putting miles on my car, which I've never done before. All that kind of stuff. Worry about so much new stuff to worry about. I don't know if I've had a wow moment, or maybe I've had so many. Or what I think is a wow moment, somebody might think is, and I don't think is at all.
Well, let me ask you this: maybe it was you made a wow moment for somebody else. Maybe it was inviting somebody to a show. Maybe it was seeing somebody at the show that maybe you got them a little bit closer. Or not everybody can get to the lead singer or the lead guitar player. But for whatever reason, they got to you that night.
God, it's weird. It's weird.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, and I'm sure it has happened. I don't have a story really off the top of my head. I hope I've made somebody's day once in a while,
Yeah.
you know, and I hope just them enjoying the bands, you know, and seeing a show that went off without a hitch, and they got to experience something that they were looking forward to, and I was just a small part of it.
Right. We talk about you doing arenas of 20, 30, 40, 50, 60,000, 80,000, 100,000 people.
Yeah.
What's it like going from that to Jimmy Kimmel or Jay Leno?
And that's stuff we do all the time.
Right.
Because,
so what's it like for you to go from that mindset of, okay, we have, 20 trucks with 60 people to it's just me and another guy making sound good for the studio?
Yeah, well, once again, most people think, you just do it over there and over there. It doesn't matter. But, we most of these bands, when we start up, we call it a record cycle. They have a new product out, and we do long rehearsals, and then we usually do a promo tour to start, and that's when you do your TV shows, your Jimmy Kimmels. That's when they're doing all that stuff, not in the middle of a tour. Sometimes you do it in the middle of a tour, but hopefully not. And you have to do that whole run of all those places, and it's a lot different. You're in a different environment. Your band's only playing one song instead of 2 hours plus.
Right.
They're going to do one or two songs, and it's a whole different environment for them and for you. And your job is there to make it sound the way they're used to and keep them comfortable in an uncomfortable environment for themselves. And that's one of the reasons they bring us everywhere and keep employing the people that they like, is because it makes them feel comfortable to see the faces and know that everything that they're gonna, when they get on stage, everything's gonna be right.
Do you get close to the band?
Never. Well, no, yeah, usually never. For one thing, it's not easy to get close to the band because we're on two totally different schedules.
Right.
Most of the times we don't stay in the same cities. Most of the times we don't stay in the same hotels. Most of the times they don't stay in the same hotels with each other. You know what I mean? So a band of six might not all be at the same hotel. So the bonding time, I would say, is during rehearsals when you're much more intimate and they're with you one-on-one.
I love that. I love what you just said because, again, listen, my audience, we don't know about all the ins and outs. So just little things like that, like there are the chemistry parts of bands that people don't realize, and like people might not like each other, so they don't stay even at the same hotel, or maybe egos play a role.
Yeah, you don't know. Or it could just be that guy's favorite hotel and the other guy's favorite hotel.
Right.
They want to stay at different places. I mean, sometimes it's it's simple, but yeah, I mean. A lot of the bands, well, like when I started with Linkin Park, I worked for them I'm still kind of work for Mike. He's been doing solo stuff, like 12 years now. We're just still work acquaintances. They're 10 years younger than me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We have different goals, different family lives, older kid, they've got young. Everything's way different. And we're just, really in the long run, I'm just there to do their sound.
Yeah.
And if a friendship evolves out of it for some reason, that's fine. You know what I mean? That's fine. But we're not in the same economic. I don't live in L.A. where most of the bands live, or England. I live in Detroit.
Yeah.
So it's not like we're going to hang out on the weekends. And they just have such a different everything going on that, I try to keep it as a work relationship. Now, over 33 years, I would say I have just a handful of friends that I call friends. And when I say friends, you see a lot of crew guys, that guy's my buddy.
Yeah.
You're not his buddy unless you know his kids' names. He calls you on your kid's birthday.
Right.
Do you have his phone number in your phone? Can you email him right now?
Right.
I know all my friends. I can do that. Right.
Exactly.
So you see all these, it's my buddy. Well, no. You know what I mean? You work for that. That's your employer.
Yeah.
And I'd say in 33 years, I have a handful of guys that are famous musicians that I could call and email and know their kids' names, and they say happy birthday to me on my birthday.
Yeah.
So a handful.
So how did you get the nickname Tater?
Easy. Dictator.
Really?
Short for dictator, yeah.
That's it?
That's it.
I thought for sure there was going to be a much bigger story here. You talk about doing things a little bit different now because of the COVID-19 and everything else. One thing that you are doing, and I was kind of shocked, because you're a guy not in front of the mic, and now you're doing a podcast yourself.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that, and have you had to get a little bit more comfortable in front of the mic?
Well, there's no audience you can see there, right? And I'm just in my office doing it. So, and I'm talking about subjects that I know, and it's me and my partner Pooch who mixes the front of house for all these bands. We do a lot of tours together throughout the years, and we do a webinar called Wrong End of the Snake. And we have a person, another touring person or someone in the music business that we know and have a relationship with, and we don't talk any technical stuff. It's all about life on the road, what their jobs are, how they handle their jobs, and how it affects everybody in the touring group, and how everybody has to get along, and the ins and outs of that kind of stuff.
So if they want to get a little bit more in depth, like this show here, but maybe a little bit, how can they find the show?
It's YouTube at Wrong End of the Snake, or on Instagram, Wrong End of the Snake.
Great question again came in on social media, and this was a young man from North Carolina, and he wanted to know your favorite truck stop, gas station, airport snack. And I thought that was such a great question.
Wow,
because
that is
listen,
a great question.
We've both been on the road. You know, I fly a lot. You're on literally on the road. What's it like to have that favorite snack? Because I know what mine is. It's a Snickers bar. And matter of fact, I had 2 of them on the way here today because I did not want to eat something that I didn't want to. So I had a Snickers bar, and it tied me over to when I get home.
God, I wish I would have had one. I haven't eaten yet today, and I'm starving. I wouldn't say it's a snack. Like, I guess it's a snack. My favorite thing in the whole wide world, it only used to be in Nagoya, Japan, and it's branched out now. It's gotten a lot bigger. They're all over Japan now, and they're kind of in Hong Kong, and they're a little bit in Thailand. They're kind of around Asia a little bit now, but it's a thing called Yamachan.
What the heck is that?
And they're famous for their chicken wings, and it's hard to believe that a Japanese company would be famous for chicken wings. You think that's kind of all American, but they are the best chicken wings in the whole wide world, bar none. And I always wish they opened one here. I don't know if the normal American would take to these chicken wings, but they are the best thing ever, and I eat them by the dozens. And it's only the wing. It's not the drumstick. It's only the wing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is there a place that you still want to travel to? I mean, you've been to so many cool places, but is there still one place that you want to either, 1, go work, or 2, just go there and say I went?
Not really. The only way I can really answer that question is we go to Europe so many times. Not only that, just so many times in 1 year even. It seems like you're always in Europe, in the U.S. You're always in South America. You got to go do a 1 show in Japan and come back. So you're always in those places. The places, not that I necessarily saying I want to go there. I think we don't do the Middle East a lot. Yeah. We do Israel, United Arab Emirates, Saudi, stuff like that. But we don't get deep in the Middle East at all. And maybe one day we can do that, and maybe I'd like to go in that region more.
Have you ever been...
Because I love their food.
Have you ever been nervous anywhere on the road, different countries, traveling? Have you ever had one of those...
Never.
Been uncomfortable because... Never. Or felt scared, or...
Never. Never, ever, ever in any place. And I love and respect all the places we go. Every place has great people. You never meet bad people. You always meet, they're happy to see a band anyway. In a group,
yeah.
So, you're always taken care of so well by the local promoters there, and they take you out to great places, and you meet people that are happy to see you and take care of you and make you feel good while you're there and show you the best. They want to show you the best of everything that their country or their city or state or whatever has to offer. So, no, I've never felt uncomfortable anywhere other than... I wouldn't say I felt uncomfortable, but I'm one of the only people that I know have been pulled over on a runway of an airport.
What?
By the police.
Come on.
Dead serious.
Please share with me and everybody watching right now. Please, that's a funny story. I guess. I was
I'm
glad it was you and not me.
I was working for Phil Collins. It was around 1993, 94, somewhere in there, and we had just done a stadium show in Caracas, Venezuela, and we had our own plane we were traveling in. And we were going down the runway, and next thing you know, engines down, no takeoff, and cop cars and military vehicles surrounded us, and came on, got the tour manager, and I guess we missed a payment to be made or a special tax or something that had to be paid, and it got paid, and we left.
Wow. That had to be a little bit scary, though.
Well, we didn't really know what was going on until after,
but
it was still kind of weird being pulled over on the runway of a plane.
Is there a band or talent that you still would love to work with? Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
A hypothetical question.
Okay.
If you could go back anytime and say, man, I wish I would have worked with that band or that person, or who would it be? I mean, you've worked with so many cool people.
Oh, so many fantastic. So blessed in that area. I don't know if it would be worked with somebody else. It's maybe worked with some people I'd worked with more.
Okay.
So, I didn't work with them enough or was unavailable. Like, when I started working for Linkin Park, I kind of focused all my attention and energy on them. And, you normally go, a band nowadays doesn't tour that long. You'll do a couple months here, a couple months there. Before you were touring, 6, 8, 12 months all the time. So you would jump from band to band a lot. And that stretch with Linkin Park, I didn't jump a lot. And I had left Judas Priest then. And I love those guys, and they're such a great band and people, and it's one of the things I know I'll look back on and saying I had to do what I did, and Linkin Park treated me great. But
yeah,
they were one of the bands. It was a very hard decision to not be with them, and I see them go out now, and it's like, oh man, just one more time, one more time.
Let me ask you this. You know what? I know you've worked with some pretty heavy metal bands.
Yeah.
I'm the Motivational Cowboy, man. I gotta ask, have you ever worked with a country band or artist?
For me, and when I started and was getting my reputation, country was not arena rock.
Okay.
Country was state fairs, smaller kind of stuff. I'm sure there was, whoever in the '80s was big. It wasn't Garth Brooks, and I'm sure there was somebody big then. But country's all based out of Nashville. It's their own little scene, their own little world.
Yep.
And until like maybe somewhere in the 2000s, I'm not sure when that became the new arena rock. You know what I mean? Where all those bands sell arenas now, right?
Yep.
I don't know when that happened, but I'm not in that scene, so I don't know those people at all, really.
Yeah.
And they don't know me. It's its own kind of entity, its own world. Yeah. So not really.
It was so funny because when I posted that you were going to be on my show today live, 2 or 3 guys that I know that are techs and stuff like that for bands. You're like, dude, I know that cat. I know, you know what I mean? So it is kind of funny how small.
Yeah, it's a very
really
small
is.
industry. Yeah, very small.
So if I, right now, got into your iPod, what kind of music does Tater listen to?
Well, Johnny D, I don't think anybody's had iPods in a few years. Maybe on my phone?
In your phone, you're streaming, whatever. What kind of 8 tracks do you have? What kind of tapes do you have? What kind of vinyl do you have?
There you go. That's better. Okay. I grew up in the, I graduated high school in '85. I grew up in the hair metal days, so I'm basically a late '70s hard rock kind of listening to, That's mainly my genre of music. But I like so many, and so many of the bands I work for, people say, aren't you sick of hearing those songs over and over again? And like sometimes you're not, and you end up liking the songs, and you see a different angle to like them. And I usually like all the bands I work for and their songs, and but I haven't. You kind of, when you're constantly mixing sound, I don't find myself listening a lot. I've only started to find myself listening a lot again now that we've been off for a while.
Yeah.
So for a while, when I listen all day at work, I got to listen to music. So I turn it off normally, but now I'm starting to turn it back on and get back into some stuff.
It's been challenging 33 years being on the road.
Yeah.
You have your bad days just like everybody else.
Oh, yeah.
You have your good days with like everybody else. Some days it's like in a roller coaster ride. You have ups and downs. When you need that kick in the butt, who motivates or inspires you to keep going? Because, listen, at the end of the day, I can't tell you how many weddings I've missed, how many funerals I've missed, how many birthdays I've missed. So many things. Yeah. Because I love what I do.
Yeah.
I wouldn't change it for the world. But I know it's tough, and I know that it gets tough being on the road.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how much you say, oh, I love my brothers and sisters on the road. Listen, at the end of the day, we're still human beings.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who motivates and inspires you when you need a kick in the butt?
Love that question. Great question. You know what? I don't really know how to answer that, but I know something and someone does, because you do have some hard times out there. Obviously, like any job, you go through stuff at work that and you just have to have a good friend network, really, to call people and talk about something else, and
Right.
get your mind off work, especially because we have to live our work. We can't go home and turn it off.
Exactly.
If you have problems at the show, you have to think tomorrow how to fix it, how to FedEx something, you're constantly in that headspace, and you cannot get out. I call it in the bubble. You're constantly in the bubble until that tour ends, until you're on that flight home. You're like, pop that bubble. I'm ready to take a day off, a real day off. Because when we're on the road, I call it show days and non-show days. It's not like
you're still on the road, dude.
Right. Some people call it, we got a day off. I don't have a day off. Non-show day.
If I hear one more time after 23 years in the speaking business, you're on vacation all the time.
Right. Yeah.
Well, you get to travel here and you get to travel there. You're on vacation. There's for me, I'm preparing for the next gig, or the next talk, because none of them are the same.
Yeah.
Or the next NASCAR event, or the next event that I'm emceeing.
Studying
and it's
and
changing
learning.
all the time.
Yeah.
No,
like I always say when people say, "Oh, you're going to be in LA for 2 weeks. You got to come see me." Blah. They're not paying me to be on vacation.
That's right. Exactly.
Okay? They're paying for my travel and my hotel and my salary for me to give them work in return.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And sometimes those hours are very long, and all I want to do is get to the hotel and get some sleep and catch up on a few things and get away from it for a second and not worry about getting an Uber to go here and do this and do that. I just want to get away.
So what's the difference between digital and analog, and is analog coming back?
It won't come back in live audio. You'll have some bands, and they'll be fewer and farther between. They'll say, "I want my engineers only to use analog consoles and stuff like that." The problem is, it all sounds fantastic. Yeah, I want to use analog. Yeah, I'm only using analog. The problem is analog is big, it's bulky, it's heavy, and it's not as flexible as digital.
Okay, so what's the difference between digital and analog?
Well, right. So I can take this. I don't know if you can see this mixing console here, right? This thing is very powerful in what it does. Okay, many functions. An analog desk can't basically do that. The problem is when a guy says he wants to take analog, you're going to get shut down by production, because the guy that has to pay, which is the band usually, to ship all that analog stuff around the world, right?
Yeah.
They don't want to pay for that anymore. They want something small, compact, lightweight that can go everywhere. So to get a band to buy in, we want analog. Well, in the end of the 12-month tour, if you want analog, it's going to cost each of the band members an extra $120,000 because of the cost of air freighting it around the world. It usually gets nixed right away.
Yeah, right.
So it can make a comeback, but in the live world, it's a tough sell.
Sounds great in the studio, but not live.
Yeah.
And can you make it sound the same with digital? Like, can you take analog and make it sound like, or can you take digital and make it sound like analog?
I never proclaimed to have any golden ears or anything like that. And I always thought I wasn't going to be in the business when digital fully came out, which it is now. I thought I would never learn it, pick it up, know how to use it. But yes, it's too close. And I think people's ears now are attuned to everything being digital and listening on bad earphones and stuff like that through MP3s. So everybody's hearing has adjusted and stuff like that. So, and the new digital, it sounds so great. It really does.
What's challenging about your job? Because again, they don't realize we only see the good things.
You only see the good things, yeah.
What is the most, or what is just challenging?
Well,
just
for me,
spew it out right now for all of us to hear.
For me in my position, if everybody doesn't know, I don't mix the sound for the audience. I mix it for the band.
So
band
what's
members.
the difference then? You've said that before. Yeah. So I thought when you mix it once, it's all the same. So what is the
difference? There's a guy normally in the middle of the arena.
Oh, right. Okay.
And he's sitting in the middle of the arena, and he's mixing the large speaker stacks you see flown in the air.
Okay, so you're off to the side of the stage.
I'm off to the side, and I'm mixing just what the band needs to hear, which is two completely different things. So I have to mix for, many different individuals, many different tastes, many different, styles, different things going on all the time, where that guy's just mixing for the people. So wow, I
never knew that.
Yeah. So,
that's so cool.
I have to be in tune with all the band members on stage with their needs and wants. And it's it's the hot seat. It's the hot seat every night. So I always feel every night my job's on the line, and I have to be 100% spot on every night. I can't have a bad night, and I live and die by that with my job, and that's how I approach it, and that's how I have to approach it.
Are there? I know for me, when I work with certain people for an amount of time, when I'm doing, and that's just me and a microphone, but I can look at you, and I can look at something or point at something, and you know exactly what I need fixed.
Yes.
Do you, why a band is performing live, can look at you and they're like, and you just know exactly what they're talking about?
Yes. If you work, it's something you can't.
It's not like they can come over and talk to you.
Well, they can. They can.
During a live show?
Yeah, they can come over. Well, they don't usually, but they can. They can. And we have talkback mics that go just to me. So
okay.
their tech or their person working for them can talk to me and say stuff. But I can always sense beforehand that they're uncomfortable. So I know something's coming.
Yeah.
I have to figure out whether it's their instrument they're uncomfortable with, the lights, the video, or is it something I'm doing. So I can sense that. And I can usually sense that by the way they look or the way he's not standing in the same, even though it's not choreographed. These guys go to the same spots every night, just by force of habit. So I can start to feel them out a little bit that way, that they're uncomfortable or something. And then I'm ready, already there, ready to start taking action.
Right. You almost have to think before they even ask.
Correct. You have to be right there, ready, and you can't take any time doing it. You have to fix it and move on because you've got other stuff going on.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
So just real quick, besides bands, have you ever worked with like a comedian or anything like that doing sound?
I don't think so.
Would you? You'd probably do anything now.
It's funny. Right now I'll do anything. I'll do anything. It's funny you say that because a comedian doesn't need what we call inputs, which are the feeds to the console. And you think, it's just one mic and maybe a spare mic and maybe an audience mic here and there. It seems easy. But what I've always found out, like a DJ, you just need a left and right and a vocal mic and off you go. I always find usually the less inputs, the harder.
Yeah.
So.
And I wonder because I just know, and I got to wrap things up. But I just know, like I like a little bit of bass. I like a little bit of reverb because I'm a storyteller. So I use the mic for certain things. It's just me and a mic, and I know the difference when they have a professional sound guy there at the event and when they don't.
Yeah, see, it's easy to tell, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, I can't thank you enough for coming to hang out. How can people find you on social media?
Tater Audio. I think I'm at Tater Audio on Instagram and Facebook. Yep. And that's the way to find me. Man, I can't. We got to do this again. Yeah,
if you don't mind.
Yeah, anytime. Yeah.
Well, hey everybody, you listened to it. That was Mr. Kevin Tater McCarthy joining me right here on this episode.
Thanks for listening to the Outstanding Life Podcast. Follow Johnny D on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Motivational Cowboy. If you or someone you know would like to be a guest on the show, advertise, or would like to make a donation, please visit motivationalcowboy.com. And remember to have an outstanding day.